A very new and responsive organisation and movement. So, for anyone that knows anything about rites of passage or any indigenous culture, your rites of passage begins at the age of 13, teenager, 13 to 19-year-old. You know, so if you're 12, you're not really involved in the program. So when we first came, I think it was the 26th of October 2016, we didn't do anything. We had about 300 people in the audience, and we wanted to validate our idea. So we presented our idea to the audience, and then we said, if you think this is a good idea, please let us know. Yeah? And we really pushed the teenagers. It was all about the teenagers. Mothers put up their hands and said, no, you can't do that. The new teenagers are 6 and 7 years old. Serious. So they're on the spot. You know, we just said, do you know what? We're going to do a teenage program for the 8 to 12-year-olds. We didn't have the resources, but we made it happen. So now we've got 2 programs. One for the pre-teens, 8 to 12-year-olds. Wow. Trauma. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, serious. And then we've got the teenagers. When we started working with the teenagers, one of our criteria is you can't just drop off your child. You can't. No, you can't. You know, whether you are uncle and aunt, whoever, we need to work. So what happened was the parents dropped their children there, and then the parents were all sitting there, all 30 of them. And then the conversation was, what are we going to do? Because it's not about us enforcing anything, it's about us co-creating something. If you give me something, because of my nature, I'm not interested. If you ask me, what do I want? This is what I want, okay, let's. So the concept of the Parenthood Academy was born as well on our second session. The parents called it the Parenthood Academy. So every week the parents sit down. A lot.
Is it like a sort of
everything is conversation. Yes, a core group of the parents whose sons are on the program. Out of the Parenthood Academy was also born another entity called the Naked Truth. The Naked Truth, because one of the things is a lot of parents feel uncomfortable coming into a very sanitized area, white walls, whatever. There's posters, but they know that it's a community centre. Do you know? Some of the parents want to drink alcohol and wear high heels. So what we've done, we've created an offshoot of it called the Naked Truth, where it's in a wine bar, a black-owned wine bar in Wembley High Road. What's it called? The Royal Lounge, where we invite parents and adults to come to talk about the same things we're discussing with the young people. But there's music, there's an after party, there's alcohol. It's an environment that they want, and sometimes they find love, you know, like. But it's a space for them to debate and to discuss. It's not a debate, but for them to discuss and for them to release. So our focus is very much the parents. One of our quotes that we utilize at the Manhood Academy is, a parent cannot teach a child. I can't teach my 7-year-old to be 7 years old. Like, he's going to be 7. He does it instinctively. However, let me tell you something, my son challenges me every day. And I grow, so he's teaching me how to become a dad. You know, so, and that's one of our mantras. So when we're working with the young people, the parents in the other room over there, we're working with them on the same curriculum. So they get exactly the same that the young, we call them young masters, that the young masters get. They get the exact same curriculum.
Yeah, brilliant. I've got, sorry.
Okay.
There was a hand up at the back. I don't know how you
Yes.
Sorry, can I just say as well? There's also a sister program to the Manhood Academy. I hope you don't mind me saying this.
Thank you, Robert.
It's the Womanhood Academy. For the past 4 weeks, my daughter's been attending.
Wow.
I've been attending the Parenthood Academy.
Okay.
Literally, I should be there now. 2
Okay.
weeks.
I didn't even know. Okay, cool.
Right now, and then I'm going to move on. But just to say that it works hard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just as the brother sitting down, similarly, the nation ran WYLA in northwest London, Willesden, and Capital City. My son attended that for a good time. And again, the parents are there, and they run that in South as well. So there are many of these programs that are also coming together in the wider context, like in Daba, that happened a couple of weeks ago, that bring all the rites of passage organizations together to have an open communication so that we formalize this for our young people.
Great. Yes, sir?
Even what you just said, Brother Dean, it's a point now that we need to move towards having a national body that takes care of our education needs, our health needs, our cultural needs.
Well, let's start building our own schools.
Yeah. And who is going to undertake that work?
We are.
Yeah.
Today.
Right.
You're gonna sign up with them today, yeah? And they're gonna. Any more questions?
Because I've only seen Access UK and Management Academy, or any of you this might relate to, do any of you collaborate with schools as well? Because as you were saying, you know, especially in terms of the gangs, the grooming is getting younger and younger. There are even like students in the schools who may be in gangs recruiting within the schools, and the schools are not really aware of it. I'm the qualified secondary school teacher, so I know what goes on behind the scenes in schools. And I would say the system is very fixed in terms of it's just about, you know, conforming our young people now and not dealing with their well-being. You know, I'm lucky I'm a trained counsellor as well, so I'm looking more to get into the mental health side of things, because if the child's mind's not right, they're not learning anything in the classroom anyway, they become disruptive and challenging. So do you collaborate with schools as well? And how do you do that, and how's that going, and how can it be improved?
When we started, our focus was on 18 to 24-year-olds, because they statistically are the worst affected in terms of unemployment.
Yeah.
But then we started getting calls from schools, like for example, Harris Academy called us. Yeah, you work with them as well, yeah. But they're like per London, I think. Yeah, so they called us in to support them with a cohort of youths that are there. I think it was about 10 at the time. To give them obviously careers and guidance. I don't know if you're aware, careers and guidance services in schools have been, you know, they're being taken away. So every school's different in terms of how they offer it.
Yeah.
So primarily careers and guidance. We've done some work with in terms of kids who are at risk of joining gangs, apparently, and obviously we do it in our own way of engaging the youth. And we've done that across the, you know, done that in Brent and other boroughs as well. So yeah, we have worked with schools.
I think this is where a lot of schools are missing out on their learners' development, because there could be a lot of things going on in the school that they choose to not acknowledge at all. And you know, even though a lot of the activity may be outside the school, within the school, you could see it growing slowly. You
because
know,
of the elite system.
And also, it's to do, you know, there's so much going on in schools. A lot of parents don't even realise. They just send their kids off to school, think that they're being, you know, they're in a safe environment, and it's not always safe for their well-being, or you know, their mental development, or even their physical development as well. More needs to be done about that as well, because it's like as soon as they walk into school, it's a what's going on
because
there?
it has an impact on the bottom line, you know, on the league table and stuff. Anyway.
Also I wanted to say, I know too much going on, I wanted to say as well, I think if it's okay with you, if the other brothers, I know the rest of the brothers and sisters, they do works in schools as well.
Yeah.
So if it's okay, is it okay to ask? I know there's schools in Copeland.
Sure.
And we do it in school. So if you could ask the other panels what you do in school, I know you do work in schools as well. I know that next to us. Yeah, so.
So we work in many schools across London, and it ranges from anything around healthy living. You know, I'm just fanatical about eating healthy, you know, mindset again. So we love challenging young people regarding that. We do the Manhood Academy, but more interesting for me, we challenge social media within the schools as well, and within the homes. So this was probably about 2 years ago. I'll never forget this day. I have like impact moments. When I have these moments, I have to do something about it. Came into a classroom, and as I'm sure a lot of us do, we build great rapport with these young people. Like they tell us stuff. One day I came in, and the young people they were sweating, like you could see, like they were talking about stabbing that took place in Wembley. What's that name, Nana? In the complex.
The
complex.
Stonebridge.
Where the shops are in Wembley.
Yeah.
So,
on the highway.
all the young people go there and buy their stuff, you know. But there was a stabbing, so came in the following day, and they were all celebrating what happened. You know, like literally they were going in, they were animated. Yeah, they did this. One day I was on a chair, and I was just there listening. You know, like what the. And I was okay. I was astounded by the amount of passion that they had at this young boy nearly losing his life, you know, and obviously I got triggered, you know, so I don't work for the school, so I can really push my boundaries. I was like, cussing him, big time, you know, and from heart and everything else, but the conversation graduated towards like, I started calling them my puppets. At that moment, the game that they was playing was called Call of Duty Black Ops, and the feature in that game was zombies, you know, like they was playing the game. So I was calling them, you lot are zombies, you lot are slaves to the queen, to the system, And I said to them, do you know what, I bet you any money for, you know, you're so addicted to the system that you can't unplug from it. Look at you lot on your phone, how can you have Snapchat? You lot can't be off your phone for like 7 days. One of them said, I can be off Snapchat anytime I want. I said, really? I challenged them to a 7-day challenge, no mobile phone. And then I saw a few of them like, yeah, I can do that. I said, all right, cool. No mobile phone, no TV, no track, no nothing, no negative stimuli for 7 days. But for 7 days, you know, they have to engage in a number of different mindset challenges that's going to, you know, boost them as young men.
Yeah.
I've got their parents involved, I've got the teachers involved as well. So for 7 days, we'll monitor.
Set them challenges.
Yeah, so I gave them the challenges, you know, and I came back and I left them with it. I didn't think they'll do it, yeah? So then I have a response like, yo, do this.
Yeah.
Came back the 7 days after, the teachers are running me down. Mr. Williams, what did you do to these youths? I can't believe that little so-and-so, he had no detentions this week, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. If you detach these young people from something that, you know, and I got so gassed about it, I had to write a book about it. That's how gassed I was. Because I realized that these young people, if you create love in their hearts, if you create that rapport, you can tell them what to do.
Amen, that's true.
Literally, like you can tell them with love, you can tell them what is needed. And social media for me is the devil. You need to understand how to utilize it for it to become God. Yeah? So this is the double-edged sword. So what we do right now, we're really pushing social media intelligence in schools because we don't see the dangers of social media because it's new technology.
Yes.
Yeah? And a lot of parents have it, so because I'm using it, I can't tell my child not to use it. So the children are doing stuff on these mobile phones that you don't imagine. Absolutely. The amount of near deaths experience, I've seen stuff on my unacceptable. But we don't understand how it works and how we can utilize it to make profit and so on and so forth. So we focus very much, our whole approach is about the mindset. And we use anything that the young people run away from, or anything that they hold dear to their heart, whether it's their dad, their mum, social media, and we utilize it to get them to transform.
You have to catch them very young.
We have to catch them very young.
Before they go to secondary school. Their mindset is there from junior school.
That's it. That's it.
Absolutely. Probably even the older brothers, sisters, the peers, the environment, they take it all in, so, you know.
So whatever they're addicted to, whatever emotion it is, we utilize that. So, yeah, we're very confrontational, but it's necessary.
Well, I think you want to talk about what you do in schools?
Yeah, I was in schools between 2003 and 2006. It's initially a brother that we both knew from about 2002, Carl Ramsey, and then I started working with a lady called Lorette Hudson in an organisation called One Hand Can't Clap. But that wasn't the point I was going to make. What I did was emotional literacy sessions with young people in young people's homeless units, schools, and then youth offenders as well. However, the point that I wanted to make to you was that there's a reason the processing plants, which schools are now, aren't concerned about the behavioural side. It's because they have the holding centres for them, which are proofs. So because you're a teacher, there's an educational professional in Deep South. Her name evades me, will come back to me. Okay. My missus got to a networking dinner, but I'll give you her details. And I'll give you, I'll give you both each other's details, but it's not in working in the Prue.
Okay.
What she has done within her school is started to run the school within the school, which is the Prue, which I believe is our business since our children are there.
Yeah.
So what I did is put her together with a number of teaching professionals, also a lady named Kay Johnston, who's created an educational curriculum called the, again, my brain is running, the name of it.
Imagine it's more flexible and it offers them.
Well, it's actually an entrepreneurial curriculum.
Vocational. I'm, you know, I'm all about that.
And it places young people with mentors in whatever they feel their career may be from 11. Now, if we put a curriculum within a team and a huge cohort of teaching professionals that want to go into schools and start adopting and taking over the proofs to teach excellence, it's about engaging young people. Because remember, they're not being engaged. And that's why they're coming out. Now, if you have an excellence program that is to engage them, and you guys figure out exactly how to deliver that, and you just go for adoption, school after school after school. It's a war of attrition. Remember, you got somebody in there who's already figured out a system to take over the crew within the school. Then you just hone that, formalize it, and deliver it out.
Yeah.
Also, Brother Dexter, you work in schools? Can you share?
Yeah, I work in schools. This was just more from a role model perspective. As I said, I like to go into schools and catch them at a kind of young age to make them channel their mindset to know that the world is their oyster. In the day and age that we live in nowadays, the opportunities are endless, and I'm kind of living proof of what you can achieve in all different walks of life. Because I do various different businesses, and it just like the last business I've just started right now, I sell makeup. So no one needs to know.
It wasn't what you thought you would do.
That's not something I thought I'd do. My main business is kids, clothing, entertainment.
There's not enough black mentors though.
There's not enough black role models to do
Not
that.
There are.
See where they are. It's about being able to identify them. It's about being able to identify them and put them in front of the children. So then they can see that their self in that person to say, I can achieve. That's what I
When you
try
bring
to
up
do.
charities or anything, you go and ask charity, you have to ask for a black person, and then they can kind of get like, well, sorry, my kids are black, they don't want to listen to a white person as far as I'm concerned, so.
But off the back of that,
But that's the elephant in the room I was talking about
It's
earlier.
true though.
That's it. But when you talk about it, people don't experience, because they'll say this behind closed doors. They're comment types. When you bring it out, it becomes problematic. But then my thing is, it's not about emotion. It's about the facts. The facts are you learn through reflection. Someone who looks like you. Now, the successful people in our community, like I was saying earlier, when they ask themselves, they leave. You know, I went to a function the other day, and I bumped into a doctor who basically, when someone's stabbed or shot, he operates on them. Yeah, black man. Yeah, highly influential. You know, in terms of the profession, he's highly respected. I said to him, it's all well and good you coming here having this statement because it's the first time I've seen you. But how about coming into Tottenham or Hackney or wherever and showing that actually this is what you do? So people can say, you know what, that's a doctor, he looks like me, maybe I can become a doctor too.
So he could do a lot, because not only could he talk
You know?
about his profession, he could talk about what he sees.
Of course, he could talk about that as well.
You know,
absolutely.
so they understand the reality of human
It had it dawned on me.
I feel like as people, as a whole, we don't glorify each other enough. So we don't put each other on a pedestal. So I want to leave you on a note that why I need to actually leave right now. At my shop, every 2 weeks Saturday, I've opened up my shop for independent black authors. So you can come, you can do your book signing at my shop, and you can sell your books at my shop from that day on. And today is one of those days from 2 till 4. But the reason why I've done it is to glorify black authors, to glorify independence, to glorify entrepreneurs. Because if we don't glorify these people, then how do we want our children to be able to look up to anybody? Do you know what I mean? Because the people who the government wants our children to look up to are in their face. So we need to start putting our people in our children's face.
It's not to glorify, it's just make them visible.
Make them visible, that's what it is.
but teachers can do that.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I left the profession because I'm frustrated.
The reason I'm saying it is because how I went into schools is because in Gladesmore, Juliet Coley, who was the deputy head, invited us in. She had an underspend. She has budget. And invited us. So we did gifted and talented, and you go across the cohorts of young people. So if you feel
Every
it,
child's gifted and talented.
absolutely, but not all are demonstrating that in school. So what you know, you can adapt and bring into your school and execute. And you are here
I
in a
truly
room.
believe every person has a gift.
Absolutely.
It's knowing what your gift is.
But like the sculpture under a
from
rock.
a very young age, you know, but you need people to believe that, that child needs someone to believe in them.
But you can directly, what I'm saying to you is, I don't know what level you're teaching at.
Secondary.
No, I know you're in secondary school.
Right.
I mean, whether you can bring people into the school for programs
But I'm not
where there's
teaching
budgets.
now. Yeah, it's not what I wanted to do now because the system's broken.
Is it okay if I could go to our dear brother over there?
Yeah, I was just thinking, because it has to do with schools and education,
And I'm going to put that cap on. I did say I'm an education advocate. Most of we go to support, we go to challenge the school. And we work with young people and we challenge the school legally, emotionally, in every other way because we know the education law. And I'm going to say a few things. David has said, let's have a conversation. You know, we've bandied the word mindset a lot today. And it's geared a lot towards the young. But many a time, this mindset is also from not only the parents, but from the professionals. I've had to represent a client who clearly said, I can't allow my son to go into that area. And I said, why? She said, if you see my son, you're just going to make up your mind that he did what they said he did. This is a mother.
Yeah.
And she was honest about it. What am I trying to say? Sometimes us, the black people ourselves, we see young boys the way they dress, the way they walk. You don't know. Even the law says disruptive behavior is as a result of unmet needs. These young people, as you were saying, they have a lot of hurts inside. And until we unpick all those things, yeah, we could give all the support we want to give. You could give all the support. If it's not the right support, every individual is unique. Thursday, I took one of my clients to Brent, and I'm going to name it, and I want everyone to reference it. The lady, her daughter's been out of school for a year. We've been fighting Brent, all the schools. The day before the CP hearing, we had a child protection hearing. This girl attempted suicide. They were in hospital till 5 in the morning. We had a meeting noon. As a normal human being, and as a parent myself, and as a professional, the first thing I expected from the local authority was, let's adjourn this meeting.
Yeah.
But no, that mom was challenged in that meeting. So harshly, so rudely. And she's Portuguese. English is not her first language. What am I saying? We are fighting a system here. It's such a system. You're a teacher, you've been a teacher. If your head teacher says to you, go and write a report, and this is what I want to see, you know you want to write it. Whether you want or not. Because that's how the system is. Unless you have your own school. If your head teacher says, this is what I want to see in that report, that's a reporter you will write, because she's the one who's going to give you a reference. When you want to leave that school, even if you're never a senior leadership team, even if you're a deputy head, this is how the system works. The system is designed against our young people. And why? Because of that pipeline from exclusions to prisons. The rules are there established just to institutionalize the mindset of our young people and prepare them for prison. We need to try as best as possible not to allow our kids to go into crews. What they need is mainstream education. When they could be around others and get the support they need. What they do now is to tell parents, oh, if your kid goes to a crew, they'll be assessed by an EP, they'll get counseling, their support will be tailored. That's all illegal. But parents are not aware. Where I'm driving at is the empowerment of parents. The empowerment of parents. Our organization, Community Empowerment Network, that's what we want to build a family. We want to have a ripple effect of parents who are aware, who are very much aware of what the rules are, who are aware of the early signs, early intervention. How do you observe your child at home? Is your child always in their room all the time? What are they doing in that room? Who are your child's friends?
Yeah.
When do they stop sleeping too much? When do they stop eating? Something is kicking in. You're going to go to that school and say, look, I've observed this, or go to your GP. So we also have a role to play.
And also the relationships in school that the kids have with the teachers.
Those are not relationships.
The teachers reinforce ideas and project
that. I'm telling you, I deal with it day in, day out. The teacher has been told how to relate to each child. I've been a governor in the school for over 10 years. My daughter is in Cambridge. But I'll tell you, as governor, that's why I chose to go and challenge schools. Because what I saw in front of me, I could not believe.
I've seen a lot myself.
Yes, I come
that's
from
not
Africa, where
how you
it's not teachers. When you take your child to school, it's a community. It's not the same here. Here it's a business. So you have to engage totally as a parent. You have to open that child's book. What do you do? Even if you don't understand, just look at what they do. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I just want to say as well, just real quickly, I refer a lot of the young people that I work with to CEN. And one thing that I've realised is the parents always come back saying, oh, waiting list, so I know that you lot are overworked. So you should be here as well.
Yes.
So I would like to invite you.
No, but that's why I'm here. I think that's what I have to say now. No.
Yeah, so please, like, if anyone's got any issues with school exclusions, whatever, please get this brother's number, because I've got some good results. through your organisation, not your organisation, but who you represent. But I'm also aware that you lot need assistance.
Big time. Don't forget also Cheryl Feeding, Black Child Agenda.
Yes.
As well, does a lot of the same work. Sorry, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just sitting here thinking, what could I do before I leave here today that's going to create some kind of action? What can I do? I mean, I'll probably have some conversations with people, but what can I really do to leave here feel that I've been fulfilled? Because I was very much seduced by the flyer. I was seduced by it. And when I saw the people on that flyer, I thought I better get myself down here and be part of something, because the people on the flyer and all the people here, we aren't messing about. We ain't got no time to lose. Time is short. And I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, well, okay, what am I going to leave doing? I'll have a conversation with one or two people, get their numbers and do some collaboration work or whatever. But what is it I'm actually really going to do? And I'm just throwing it out there. I kind of feel partly that we're talking about systems, and systems are so crucial to our social experience. And I always sit, and probably you have the same experience, I always sit in a system where us and them. This wouldn't happen in Adaba. We don't do this. We change the spaces that we convene. And I think partly we need to even start with that, just breaking up and being playful more with the way that we interact with each other. So I'm just throwing that out there. I don't have any answers to it. I just wanted to just throw it out there. That's all. I'm a bit disobedient. If anybody knows me, I'm that kind of person who just, always likes to play around.
You're actually correct now, but we've become very English. That's a fact. And a very hard part, as much as we might adopt, there's a lot that we don't know how not to be English.
But nah, you know what, I disagree with you slightly there. If you go to the Manhood Academy sessions, what you described is exactly what they do.
Yeah.
You see my point?
Of course.
Yeah. So there are people that are adopting, our particular way of doing things, not necessarily what someone else telling us what to do. Do you know what I mean? It's even when I speak to commissioners, I tell them that I work with historians. They look at me like, what? What's historians got to do with young people going around stabbing and shooting each other? They don't get it. But that's something that I put into the programs. I know what it does, and that's why I work with particular people, therapists. Right now they're talking about the public health approach. That's old to people on this table. We've been doing this from way back. We understood the things like the mindset. We understand that mental health is a big problem within the community. Yeah? So that's something we've been doing and embedded in our programs from day dot. But now, because the Scots have done it, quote unquote successfully, now it's the public health approach. That's the language they're using now. But we've been doing that from way back. So I think we live in England, so obviously you would adopt certain things, but at the same time I think give credit to organisations that actually embed that in their delivery. And there's lots of them out there. The problem is they're working in silos, like I said earlier. Yeah, they haven't got the resources or the manpower. Because the solutions to knife crime is here already. But Manhood Academy, people like Manhood Academy, they're funding it themselves. They've got no external resources. So once you push that resource into an organisation like Manhood Academy, you see the ripple effect. Because you're able to replicate what they do in particular areas across London. So when you're saying, oh, well, I'm going to leave here and I don't know what is happening, but it's just about building up capacity of our organisations on the ground so we can actually deliver on a bigger scale. That's what I personally think it is. That's a challenge, is the resources and manpower for me. Yeah.
We've got two questions there. Oh, okay. We've got a brother there, and then we've got our sister there, and then our sister here. Okay, is that okay with you guys? Yeah. All right, cool. Go ahead, Bob. Cool.
Thanks for everyone that's talked today. It was a really good meeting and stuff like that. But what I'd like to specifically ask, what do you think, how do you think social media can connect people and bring some of what's been said together? Because, I'm a person that likes to use social media a lot and to connect people. I think, on a basic level, connecting people together can really help. And then from that, you can build strong institutions from that.
To be frank, we're blessed to have the technology we have. I utilize it every day on each of the platforms for its correct process, but there's no denying, as Nana said, that the economics need to come into play as well. Tony is in a group, the Solution Room, and the thing of it is, why we all get to a point where we become very frustrated is because we set off with the greatest of intention and we're very enthusiastic, and then a little down the road, we don't actually have the money to deliver the programs in the way that we saw fit. Then we bite the carrot that there's 90 million of funding that's been put aside for us. But what Nana hasn't mentioned is that when he went to Downing Street, 90% of the room where the money was ring-fenced for African Caribbean organizations for delivery, 90% of the people in the room were Europeans. So
we credit that. And in the second round.
And then after that fact, there are many traps and pitfalls, such as our turnovers that don't work, so then we say, right, we're going to create a consortium. So then we go out to all the people, reaching out to all of those in the community, and most of them are in this group, the Road CEO group. But then they say, no, it's the lead organization's turnover. Knowing you don't have any turnover, and then they award you the money based on your turnover. So you can't create a combined consortium as an entity with your combined income. So every time you run around this thing, you say, I'm going to be innovative, entrepreneurial. It gets boxed down. So you meet so many catch-22s. But make no mistake, everybody who's delivering in London who is black, so know each other. So when you say, oh, there's no black mentors, there's many.
Hundreds.
And everybody knows each other.
That's it.
However, ask one of those organizations for a grant. Never happen. Because none of them has a grant to spare. So what happens is, the bigger organizations get the money and they trickle down shrapnel to the grassroots, knowing that you can't build sustainable businesses, because then you're always going to have to come back, which makes their role necessary. So if you understand the role of a lawyer is to create legislation in order to untangle legislation, now you understand what we're talking about. You make a role to make yourself necessary. So what we are is out-organized. However, we are organizing. Are we organizing with a frequency? We're having plenty of conversations every single day. Like you open up, we share everything. But are we organizing in the most effective way? No, because how many of us actually own buildings that we can say, I can take out, I've got to run in a minute to my shop because my brother couldn't cover me today. And I've got a staff there by himself, and I know he can't manage on a Saturday, as busy as it is. How many of us can take our time out to sit around the table for an 8-hour day and effectively strategize and put down the milestones for delivery, and then we all go out with our sweat equity and say, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. So they use social media, and what that does is it exponentially gets information out in the world. So in terms of shaming a young man, I'll be honest with you, if I was 18 and you beat me up in front of a woman, I'm going to stab you. That is a fact. So I cannot look down on them, which is why we have to talk about creating the outlets, which are aggregation of all the information. So you've got creators and producers who are highly successful. They might have 10,000 subscribers, but they've got 100,000 eyeballs.
That's it.
When you put that on one platform aimed at young people, and this is the visual now in terms of a TV platform, what we're talking about Indigo, we do exactly what the BBC did with Road CEO, in that we get money to train young people, and you can pay crew who are shooting things, and the young people are now sitting. I've made 3 documentaries like this between 2004 2006. So a young person is an assistant cameraman, an assistant editor, an assistant
Mackenzie's doing a project
director.
like that at the moment, isn't he?
Say that again?
Paul Mackenzie is doing a project.
Yes,
like
Paul
that.
Mackenzie just buzzed. But we need these all around London.
Yeah.
So Paul Mackenzie is another brother of ours.
Yeah, sure.
But don't think
I've
that
done two videos with Paul. He's done numerous. So yeah,
don't think that Paul Mackenzie has the money that he needs.
No.
And Paul Mackenzie can't support 100,000 young people.
Sure, yeah.
These systems, you need to have training the trainer.
It's
so you
about
have a bespoke.
collaborating as well, and he's collaborating.
We all
the people
no,
got
my
the
love,
skills.
my love. We all collaborating. As that we say, we all know each other. We all collaborating.
Right.
If that man make a phone call to any of us in the room,
Right.
we will be there in 30 seconds.
Right.
It's the economics. We pay taxes.
Yeah.
We don't listen. We didn't just pop up under our armpit and send our children to school and say feed us and look after us. We work and we provide economics for this country.
That's right.
No nation, no government generates revenue. Businesses generate revenue and employees generate revenue. It's called taxation. But we don't get any representation for our taxation. Mainly because we are unorganized. So we are organizing. This is another white elephant in the room that we can't overlook. Because of fact. We are the most unorganized people, which is no secret why we are the most ill-treated people.
Yeah.
So it's okay, but let's just put our cards on the table and say it amongst family, so that as I look at Europeans, I say, I understand. You're Mourinho, and I'm Pep Guardiola. Now we got shin pads, and we playing football on an even keel. Because you are not here for me. And the fact that my grandparents were kidnapped in the night and deported is testimony to that in the 70th anniversary of the Windrush. So I also know that you like to do things that are iconic, and that is only a litmus test. Our grandparents are a litmus test for what can happen to us in 30 seconds when the desire and the appetite is no longer there for us to be here. Now if you have any cloudy judgment, know that Brexit was also the litmus test to let us know there is no appetite.
Yes, sister.
My question is more general in terms of, so you reform this person and you give them opportunities and it enters the corporate world. For example, I've worked in 2 corporate companies and the first thing I have to do is justify my hair, my diversity, why I dress the way I dress. So are you working to do like myth busting with employers to look at, you have to look beyond the physique in terms of we're not going to look like you. We don't have to justify how long we hair our hairstyles, why our hair is the way it is, why we look the way we like.
The whole shebang. When, just say you was coming to Access UK, yeah, and place you with just say PwC. We don't just say, you know what, here you are, see you later, we placed you, got our money, so good luck to you, yeah? We know you're entering a hostile environment. One of the biggest problems that the corporates have at the moment is not even recruiting young black people, it's retaining them. Because when they go in, they realize how, like you just said, how hostile it is. Like, I'm out of it, I'm gone. That's the first thing. The second thing is helping people to reach a higher level within their organisation. So a lot of people at the bottom level, but where's the middle management, where's the senior management, and so forth. Like lawyers recently done a campaign to recruit people in senior role within the bank. Yeah? Because we're really good recruiting people, you know, that look like me and you, to tick a box. But what you do beyond that, so a lot of the work goes into training. So training staff about culture. When I'm saying culture, I'm also about our culture. I'm talking about the culture of having a diverse environment. Teaching them things about unconscious, so-called unconscious bias. I think a lot of that is conscious, but you know that's a different argument. But unconscious bias training. So when they're recruiting, they're not trying to look at you away because of your hair, like you said, or the way you speak and so forth. All these things that go into it. Yeah? Because even if you look at it on a deeper level, somebody's from a middle class background or maybe upper class background talking to a white person who's working class, that might be an issue too. So it's not just a racial thing, there's lots of other things that go into it as well. So what our youth are facing, compounded barriers, not just like you're short, tall, ugly, pretty, whatever it is, you're female or male, is a whole heap of things that we're trying to help them circumvent, so that's what we do, but we can't do it by ourselves, that's the thing. We're only one organisation. The challenge is to get other organisations the same. Yeah, that's me. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to dash in a minute, so I'll just answer what we do at the Princess Trust in terms of that. Like, I'm probably, most stereotypical person coming from the Princess Trust, like white blonde, not going to lie. And I know that we as a charity, we don't run specific programs for minority groups. Our programs are open to anyone who comes in, but we do work with a lot of quite high-end employers like ASOS and M&S and HSBC, and we train them to understand the barriers that young people are facing in today's society, which many of them would have never thought of because they come from very different backgrounds, and we help them to understand the difficulties that a young person can face coming into a workplace, whether it is because of their ethnic background or because of mental health challenges that they're having. And I guess that's one way that we're tackling it. I think as a really large organisation, we don't run a lot of really, really bespoke programs for different groups of young people and ethnic groups, but we are looking to move to more community-based ways of working, with literally just going under a new way of working throughout the entire operations side of the Princess Trust to work with more community groups and be able to run programs that are specific for young people. Like, I'm not going to lie, our programs need to change. A lot of them are saying, hey young person, like, fit into this program we've established, not what program do you need and how do we create a program to meet that need. So we are over the next few years changing the way we're working, and no, we can't, I don't think we can do everything, but we must do something. And the programs that we're doing, I'm hoping, can collaborate with a lot of the work that you guys around here is doing, to be able to bring answers and meet needs and actually change the way, like, our young people growing up in the UK, and the way workplaces are embracing ethnic diversity and young people with different needs and different barriers. If that answers a little bit about your question.
Is it going to be a different entity of the Princess Trust, or will it still come under the Princess Trust? And is it actually something that's put into place, or are they just having a consultation about those ideas of reaching out to community-based groups more?
So yeah, so a lot of our stuff over the past year, we've just been going through that consultation period. Right now, the Princess Trust has different offices in East, South and West London, and from those offices, as opposed to working in pan-London programs, we're going to be working in community-based teams, as opposed to separate teams who would run specific programs. So these community-based teams will go out into the community and meet with, the youth charities who are in South London and work in specific programs for the young people there. For example, I'm in the East London office, and we run a lot of amazing programs there, but for example, a lot of the Bangladeshi community there have the young people who want to get into admin and tech, and we don't have enough programs for that. We're offering other programs that they're just not interested in or they don't want to do. And so moving towards ways of working, saying actually what do the young people in this community want to do and how do we get them into that?
How about outside of London as well? Because Princess Trust is like a national...
Yeah, so the whole of our operations is moving to those ways of working. I personally don't know the geography of like where our other offices across London will be kind of particularly working in.
Right, yeah, sure.
Because they work in London, but yeah, the rest of our offices all across the whole of the UK.
Will they be funding will they be funding community groups as well?
I don't think we will be specifically funding
So how are they going to support?
But we'll be working with them. For example, I literally just started last week doing a program which we paid East London Dance to run in creative industries.
Collaboration.
So it would be collaborating. So it would be saying, oh, you've got.
Are they bringing money? Because like.
Yeah, of course.
a lot of
Collaboration
groups,
is money is a big part
Yeah.
of that.
I thought it was the skills as well.
Also, forgive me, sister. You wanted to ask something?
Yeah, and it was more of a suggestion as well, because the Manhood Academy, we're still young, you know.
Yeah.
So when you make reference to like volunteering and so on and so forth, we don't have the capacity to manage volunteers at the moment because there's a lot of emotional turmoil, you know. And I just wanted to encourage everyone to direct yourselves to either Dean or Nana, because I think what they're doing is like, we're going to come to you for that structure. You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes there's way too many, like, we're living in an age of attention. Everyone wants to be seen, like, here we are. It's like, when people come to me and they say they want to start a business, I say, don't waste your time. Like, if you get creating a business, like an initiative, plug in to something that's in place already, because once you start your business, then there's a wall. Like, how do you work together? When I go places, I'm this Davis. I don't really like to say Manhood Academy. It's only because I've got something to do after. Then I will wear the uniform or whatever the case is. But normally, we have to enter these things as an individual. And if there's a structure in place, a system, I think I would like to encourage everyone to, you know, plug into the system and the structure that's in place, and less projects. Does that make sense? Yeah, because I think the projects are more short term, and we just don't have strategy. So the amount of people say they want to volunteer for Manhood, I'm just like, it's long right now, because the structure's right, it's not there. There's too many organisations who are small, we just don't have the structure, the capacity not there. And there's organisations, you know, like the Solution Room, that they're dedicated towards creating the right structure, and Access UK as well. So I'm just encouraging everyone to please, if you can support what these two brothers are doing, which is one and the same. We're all one and the same anyway. Then I would encourage that, and let's not fragment our ideal or our focus in terms of I'm not taking no one's number today. Like, I don't want to. Unless you've got an issue with a young son, I'm happy to do that. But if you want to support, I'm going to say, like, I'm going to direct you over there, because there's too many meetings. I'm only here because of you, bro. I'm just being honest. I normally don't do this, you know.
Seriously.
No, I'm just being honest. Because I get frustrated, and brothers know, because there's a lot of talking, and then people go home and then they go get their plant in and they go, you know, they live their life. But we really need to like focus on the solution. And the reason why Manhood Academy exists is because we wanted to get the young people to do businesses, but they didn't have the foundation. So we said, all right, let's sort out the foundation, and when they get to a certain point, hey, you got none. Because that's my interest is not employment. But some of the young boys we work with, they want employment. So that you can have them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Pathway.
It's a pathway. So what we're doing, we're getting the young boys ready, yeah, so we can pass. And that's how, we're not trying to do everything. It just doesn't make no sense.
Let me add a point to that comes up a lot for people who've got no business acumen in this sector. What they'll say is that because funding is tight, they're very focused on what they do. So they make an assumption that if I do something with you, I've got a tenner, I have to split the tenner with you. What they don't realise is, by collaborating, you actually get a bigger pot of money anyway.
We identify our own needs.
You understand? And rather than give 100 grand to Manhood Academy, if you know what, let's give 100 grand to Access UK and Manhood Academy, because they're in partnership. You understand? That's 100 grand that we never had before. Because we're collaborating, that 100 grand is on the table, because it's less risky, and is shared responsibility as well. Yeah. Now a lot of us, exactly. Now a lot of us in this space have got the passion, but got no business sense. So you have people chatting all kinds of foolishness when you go to meetings, because their business mind is not there. It's non-existent.
It's passion that's coming out.
That's all it is. No business sense.
And emotion.
And emotion.
And emotion.
So some people say, oh, you know what, I don't really like my man, or I don't really. That's irrelevant as well, because everyone's doing their own thing. You can't like everybody. You can't look when Putin met what's his name? Trump the other day. You think they love each other? when before September 11th, Pakistan was the top 5 rogue states. All of a sudden, everyone was in the America and England were in Pakistan forging alliances because they needed to form alliance. So sometimes we have to take our emotion from these things and look at the end result.
Pragmatic.
You know what I mean? Exactly, and be pragmatic. So that's it. That's my thing in terms of collaborating anyway. Is that I think it's crucial. There's too many people working in silos by themselves, and it's not going to work. Because like